What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the politics and BS. All right, guys. So there's always something happening in this MAGA nation that we seem to be living in right now. And I don't highlight Jasmine Crockett enough. There have been so many things that she has said and highlighted that honestly, I just haven't had a chance to get around to talking about. But I'm going to start now. And I want to share something that she just recently talked about. And she was on CNN. I'm going to share my screen because to have her highlight the hypocrisy of these GOP reps and this person that is in the office of the presidency, it's- we need more like her. And I know there may be a few that are out there trying, but she's not speaking in ways that are flowery or soft or subtle. And that's what they don't like. But that's what we need. And yeah, some people may say, well, talk is cheap. Well, honestly, there's only so much she can do, right? In terms of trying to get things done. She can't be like Nancy Mason threatening to go outside and whoop somebody's ass like Nancy Mace was trying, which we know that she ain't going to bust a grape when she was speaking to Jasmine Crockett. And it's just ridiculous. But I'm going to share my screen with you guys and we're going to get into what she had to say about what's going on right now.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, and it's great to have you here. I just wonder what you make of how this is playing out among Republicans, because Speaker Mike Johnson endorsed this. He praised it. But we heard from several Republicans who said they didn't like it. Senator Roger Wicker said that the president's advisors were apparently not listening because the Pentagon spending. Senator Mitch McConnell said it was material neglect. Susan Collins called it late and expressed concern over those cuts as well. What do you think is going to happen here?
Listen, I have no idea. Unfortunately, I don't feel like we're living at a time in which these representatives, whether they're senators or House members, are listening to their constituents. If you listen to your constituents, then you will hear pain. And that pain is spread across the political spectrum. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, the cuts that you talked about, they are going to impact everyone. And it's interesting, as we are going through reconciliation, we had a reconciliation markup in oversight as well as judiciary. So I had a very long night on Wednesday. And to listen to them, the things that they were not willing to say that they were okay with cutting, or the things that they were willing to cut, right? It's absolutely insane. And I have to tell you that the House budget Democrats have made sure that we have every single district listed out with the amount of people that will be impacted by the Medicaid cuts, with the amount of people that will be impacted by the SNAP cuts. But you even went a lot deeper there. And here's the reality. You said that he wants there to be a portion of the budget that goes up to $1 trillion on the defense side. And when we look at defense, you know who can't pass a clean budget or a clean audit? It's defense. They have failed the very last 7 audits. So why would they continue to get raises, which they always do, yet we're going to hurt the most vulnerable amongst us?
Yeah, and they're saying that it's targeted. It's for certain programs of the Pentagon. It wouldn't just be to boost overall spending. But I still think it's a good question in terms of what that looks like. But do you think the president will get what he wants here from Republicans? I mean, what is your sense of watching your colleagues across
the aisle? It seems like they do whatever he wants them to do at all times, right? Like behind closed doors, they will talk about how these things are crazy. You can find plenty of Republicans that will tell you that these tariffs are a problem. They will tell you that, and they know that it's a problem. This is why they don't want to go out and listen to their constituents by having town halls. This is exactly why, if you tune in and watch any of these hearings, when it comes down to marking up these bills where these cuts are supposed to be, you know who won't even defend them? The Republicans. We sat in hours and hours and hours of in listening to amendments as we were going through the markups. And every time we started calling out specific Republicans and said, Congressman such and such, what do you think? And they literally were silent. It was almost like they were told, don't say anything because we can't win. We just have to vote down these common sense amendments and get through this because this is what we've been told to do.
And that's the part that really infuriates me, guys, because it's like 45/47 literally with his weak hands is holding them by the nutsack, the few of them that have any left, or the females that look like they have some, because anyway, they don't have a backbone. He has them by the balls, okay? If you cannot take the heat, get up out of the Congress. Why do these people continue to stay there? Because let's be honest, if they resign or they decide not to run again for election, none of them are going to go without. They are all going to be okay. So the fact that all of these people continue to stay in these seats and they refuse to fight, they refuse to say, you know what, we allowed these shenanigans to go on for long enough, but enough is enough. I'm not going to stand back and stand by anymore, because although I have been living an amazing life, I initially got into this to represent the people of my community, of my county, of my whatever, of my state, whatever, right? Whether they're congressman, congresswoman, senator. I believe that's why they initially got into it, but unfortunately, there are no term limits. So these people can continue to run and run and run and run. And so they have these people in their pockets, or actually, they are in the pockets of these special interest groups and these, different organizations and things like that. So, but now it's not even so much about those special interests, because at one point that used to be the problem. Now 45/47 is the special interest, because it's like, we can't say anything in public that disputes what he's saying, or he's going to endorse somebody else that's going to run against me and then I'm going to lose. Well, if you can't continue to operate with any level of integrity and you're literally just doing everything that he wants you to do, but you know that it's going to really affect a whole lot of people, because let's be clear, one of the reasons why 45/47 say he loves the poorly educated is because it allowed somebody like him to get into office. All right? Because those are the main ones that are going to be hurting by his policies, by his executive orders, all of the different things that he is for reducing or cutting or getting rid of, right? And then they're hurting, and then he will allow Fox News or listening to whoever that is a sycophant of 45/47 to say, well, you know what? It's not his fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's Kamala Harris's fault. Like, these people are no longer in office, but they will listen to that and still blame the former president, or what's worse, they'll go back and blame President Obama. He has not been in office since 2000, like the beginning of January 2017, before that clown was inaugurated to be in a seat that he never should have been able to get into. But let's continue.
Well, and on the Pentagon spending part of this is the wish list includes the Golden Dome, which is basically this new missile defense shield, new space missions to Mars and also to the moon. The question is, who would benefit from that? And based on the person who has massive federal contracts for that right now is Elon Musk. I do wonder, though, given the backlash that some Republicans have seen at town halls, and Democrats who are accused by some constituents of not doing enough to push back against Elon Musk, what you make of that and whether or not that will be in the final spending bill here.
I mean, it's all about making sure that he and his friends are happy. That's it. So yeah, absolutely. I can see that, we've talked about this Gold Dome situation and Elon. I don't know that I'll see that in there. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't know. I think that they may say this is where we kind of draw the line. There was an increase even under President Biden for defense as well. And that came as a part of a negotiation to raise the debt ceiling the last time. They said, well, when we get to the budget, you've got to make sure that you do this increase. But here's the bigger issue. We can talk about the specifics of cuts and where there's going to be increases. The real issues are this, is that when you start to cut, regardless of if you think it's a handout or whatever you think it is, this impacts all of us. Even if you are not the person that say is on Medicaid, when you have to show up to that hospital, or when you have to go see your doctor, or when your children are having to go to school with other children that aren't getting their health care. Listen, we learned this in the pandemic, that you can't just say, oh, well, I have enough money so I can escape this. You can't. This is going to impact those of us that aren't the 1%ers.
Well, and obviously we're seeing disagreement among Republicans. Democrats also are not agreeing. No one seems to be able to strike the balance on where you're going, what's the best way to respond to President Trump. Vice President J.D. Vance was asked tonight who he believes is leading the Democratic Party, and I want you to listen to his answer.
Do you think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, is the new leader? Could it be Vance AOC in 2028?
President AOC, the stuff of nightmares, Brett. Thank you. You've ruined my sleep for this evening.
Who is the leader of the Democrats?
The nerve of this ass clown to talk about a nightmare, because he's the same one that called 45/47 America's next Hitler. And now you are licking his A-crack any chance that you can get, because you got the opportunity to be his little minion, his little puppet. Whatever. You know what? I don't even want to hear what he has to say, because I can't stand this clown. Fast forward to that.
Oh. Is Trump leading the Democratic Party?
Under no circumstances. And I think that he absolutely, in fact, he had my name in his mouth here recently. No, listen, that is not true. But I do think that one of our problems right now is that everybody's like, who is our leader? And I keep trying to tell people that you are waiting on somebody to come and save you, but your savior is you. It is the people. The most, as we listen to the vice president speak, or Vice President Kamala Harris, let me just say that. As we listened to her speak on Wednesday, one of the things that she talked about being inspired by was the people. And that is what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to make sure that, listen, no matter how you associate politically, this is about us. And right now, Trump has made it about him and his rich billionaire friends.
So exactly. It's not about party. So save me with the Republican, Democrat, all independent even, because even that is like, it's a party. I'm not either party. But the reason I was talking about politics in the first place is because I saw this coming. And they allowed, oh my God, they allowed this person who never wanted to be president. Let's be clear. I did commentary last year about that. 45/47 never wanted to be president, and actually never thought he had a snowball's chance in hell of actually being president. He ran for president, not unlike some people who have done it before, as simply a marketing thing, and it was to get their name out there. It wasn't that they thought they were going to actually become the nominee, let alone actually becoming the president. It was because it was for business purposes. It was for marketing purposes. I'm not saying that every single person who ran for president that knew they would never win did it for a business reason. That's not what I'm saying. But there have been a lot of others in the past who have. One I can name off the top of my head was actually I can name two. Ross Perot. If you are somebody that remembers that name, Ross Perot, he ran, I believe he ran as an independent if he didn't run as a Republican, but he was someone who ran more so for business and marketing purposes. It wasn't because he actually thought that he was going to become the president, and he got a lot of play on media. Another person, Herman Cain, who actually died because the fool was, not unlike some other Republicans and some MAGA people, making fun of the pandemic, and he went to one of 45/47's rallies, not wearing masks, was making fun of masks. Then he wound up catching the C word and he died. But when he ran for president, it was more so for business and marketing purposes. It wasn't so much because he thought he was actually going to become the nominee, let alone becoming the president. So this man never even was running to be president. It was for business and marketing purposes. And so many people fell for the okey doke. And not only that, you just had a lot of weirdo losers who were Republican nominees that could not outwin him in terms of winning over the people who were voting for him. And like 45/47 said, he loves the poorly educated. So a lot of those people that voted for him, they voted for him because it was like, they were like, oh, I love the way he speaks. He doesn't give a damn. He'll curse you out. He'll say this, he'll say that, and won't flinch. And I love it. And it's like, this is ridiculous. You want an unhinged person to be the leader of the free world. And then we already went through what we went through while he was in office the first time, which he didn't deserve to be, with the pandemic. He was telling people to drink bleach. He was telling people to inject themselves with ivermectin, something that we give our dogs every month for heartworm prevention. We've been doing that for years, okay? For years. And it went to becoming something that we just normally would be able to get regularly, where they had to lock it up behind glass counters and we had to request it because these fools are out here buying it, injecting themselves with it, and dying because they were listening to him and other people. And they're actually still promoting that stuff on Truth Social, by the way. I know somebody who is on Truth Social just for the purposes of looking at some stuff for work. And so they have to be on there. And sometimes they'll send me screenshots of stuff that's on there. And they're promoting ivermectin for people to take still to this day. But anyway, yeah, the Republicans, they won't stand up and fight for the people. So it's not all on the Democrats. You have these people who are just running scared or just standing there, sitting on their hands, closing their mouths, zipping their lips, and they're not fighting against this. And so this is a convicted felon that we have in the office of the presidency right now. And it's absolutely insane.
If you were asked who the leader of the Democratic Party is, you would not say any elected official. You would say the voters.
I would absolutely say the people.
Speaking of leadership and what that looks like, there was sad news in the House this week when your colleague Jerry Connolly announced that his cancer has returned. He's going to be stepping away from his role as the lead Democrat on House Oversight. Yeah. That's a key position. Are you interested in taking that position?
Yeah, listen, I first must say that we have all benefited from the service of Jerry Connolly for 30 years. And I hate to hear it, but I am the vice ranker on the Oversight Committee. And if given an opportunity to lead, I am ready to go on day one.
And she is a leader, and we need more like her. I just have to say, I really love Jasmine Crockett. She is very well-versed, highly educated, but she knows how to get down with it, and she will let you know how she really feels and not flinch. And I love that. And so they can try to call her ghetto. They can talk about her lashes or her hair or whatever, but it's always some superficial blows that they'll try to, come at her with. But it's never on any substance, because when it comes to substance, she's got them beat. And yeah, she's got them beat when it comes to looks and all that stuff too. But I want to know what you guys think, because I love the fact that she exposes the hypocrisy without apology. And the GOP and 45/47, the things that they are doing to decimate people's lives, it bothers me. And it really bothers me even more so that some people who claim to be Christians, they're either sitting idly by and accepting it, or they will give excuses as to why they believe he is the man for this job. And I find it the height of hypocrisy. And I'm going to talk more about that later. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for being here, liking and subbing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful. And now I'm going to say bye.